I think we're feeding through to the people. I believe it's feeding. Just so everyone knows, I pressed the wrong button here and kicked off something. So if you see anything else out there, ignore it. Lola, delete it. Delete whatever that was that goes out there to people. Okay, so while we're waiting for confirmation and all that kind of stuff here, I will, let me see, I'll go full screen to me. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. We're waiting for confirmation. I want to remind you guys to go to hankstrange.com, sign up for our email list. That's the best way that we can communicate with you guys. You can communicate with us. Lola throws up deals and all that kind of stuff, as well as, lets you guys know what's going on with different things. If you want to support us, you can get these patches right here. We've got two patches out right now. So one is the logo patch, the broadcasting one, and the other one here is what I call the super suit or the blaster patch. Those are both out. You can get those on hankstrange.com. If you do that while supplies last, I'll throw in some of these gun vote stickers that I got from the NSSF here for you guys in the package. And by me, I mean Lola's going to send that out. So, that's how that goes. Don't forget to smash the thumbs ups out there. Share this with everyone. We got a big show tonight, and we're going to get into it here. So smash those thumbs ups. Let everyone know that this is going on. Let me throw the fellas in here. We've got Walter Keller of Safety Harbor Firearms joining us. And Safety Harbor, of course, sponsors the podcast, as you guys can see there at the bottom of the screen. We also have Pete Brownell joining us.
Hey,
there
guys.
he goes. Boom. Pete's in the house. We're all in the house here. Pete, couple of things that we have to do. So one, I am going to press the button to start the open. We'll do that. We'll let everyone.
Welcome back to the Hank Strange Situation.
Welcome back to the channel, guys.
Lifestyles
Subscribe,
of the
thumbs
locked
up,
and loaded.
ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live. Pete, we do this thing here called Jazz Hands. No one is immune. Everyone has to do it.
All right.
Jazz Hands. There you go. Jazz Hands. All right. I hope you guys have your big girl panties on. It's going to be fun tonight. This is episode 627 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Hank Strange. Our special guest is Pete Brownell. There he goes. He's live. He's here for he looks very professional. He's got a professional setup with the microphone. And,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, my son set this up. He's a techie.
Awesome. Yeah. We also have Walter Keller joining us. Walter, what's up?
Oh, just another happy day in paradise.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Walter making the guns. And, the first thing I want to do here, we got to do this official. Hashtag BOP. Okay, yeah, Walter, there he's showing off his Bureau of Propaganda shirt Walter has. I'm flying the flag. There it goes.
There you are.
For all the
Join
BOP people out there, absolutely. If I don't do this, Pete, I'm going to be in big trouble with the rest of the BOP dudes. They're like, okay, I can't believe you had Pete Brownells on. You didn't do it. So, we did that. All right. So, Pete's going to be here for the whole 2 hours. He's going to take questions, all that kind of awesome stuff. I know I've gotten a lot of things, Pete, from the folks out there, and there's probably like one question everyone wants to get into here,
Sure.
right, on the subject of the NRA. So, I don't know if there's really a lot there. That's been going on for a while. So I don't know if you've got something that you want to say to cover that, and then we can move on and go on to other things here.
Yeah. I retired from the NRA about 2 years ago when I stepped down from the presidency. So I've been out of the loop for quite some time. So I'm getting the news feeds like you guys are getting the news feeds. So I don't want to say there's nothing new or any inside that I know that's not already out there. We're all that whole document set out there. So the NRA's got some stuff to work through. Still a group that's still a big group out there that's supporting the NRA as being members and letting their voice be heard. I encourage that. Let your Second Amendment voice be heard like you're doing right here today. There's also some other great organizations out there right now that are really moving the needle. So join them all. You got NSSF, you were flying the patches there, NAGA. Great movement. Maybe we can get some numbers of new gun owners a little later on in the show if you haven't touched already with your listeners. Second Amendment Foundation, Alan Gallagher doing some great stuff out there. There's a whole bunch of them. Second Amendment, there's just a lot of them. Join them all. We need that voice.
There's GOA. There's a bunch of folks out there. There's individuals doing a lot of stuff, which we will get into this. You've got Maj Toure over at Black Guns Matter. You know, you've got Kevin Dixie, you've got lots of people out there, and I think it's what's important right now, especially right now, is everyone needs to get into that mindset that we all have to fight for the Second Amendment, and regardless of what's going on, Brownells is still committed to that, right or wrong.
That's right on, man. Yep.
Okay, all right, that's very important for anyone that wants to know. We can maybe get into some things. What's up, Walt?
I saw, I think it was The Truth About Guns, that the ACLU says the NRA has the right to exist. Now, for the ACLU to be doing something for Brownells, for NRA, sorry about that, Pete.
Yeah.
That tells you something there, you know, that there could be a little bit of monkey business going on.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if those guys are taking it that seriously, absolutely, yeah, we can't argue that. So.
I can tell you the ACLU at their core principle is they're looking to make sure that we have our civil liberties. When they see someone that they're not necessarily lined up with or we're sitting around the same campfire of how we approach freedom, when they see the kind of the gross overreach of the government pushing, which could be determined as politically pushing a civil rights organization out of existence, they're going to stand up and say something. So I applaud their courage to do that, because I know that's difficult for the ACLU to do that. So I applaud them for that. Yeah,
and the thing is that I don't know if you can. There you go, Pete. Boom. Just try to get in the center. Go the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You're good. Yeah. You know what the thing is? I think that what we all need to realize about that. Couple of things here. One, I know people don't like getting into politics, right? And I understand why. There's certain things in the world people don't want to talk about. I'm fine with it. Maybe lots of us are fine with that. But to me, the Second Amendment's not political. Right. It's the Constitution. You know, this shouldn't have anything to do with who's in office or this thing or that thing. It's part of the Constitution. And I think we're starting to see organizations out there realize that, guess what? If they get rid of these guys, how much longer is it before they get rid of these guys? Or if they get rid of this thing in the Constitution, how much longer is it before they get rid of that thing in the Constitution? So very important to me for what America means and what America will continue to grow into becoming is the Constitution. And I think that the ACLU is mostly talking about the First Amendment when I read those articles, right?
Right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So there you go. Let's see here. Where should we start? Where do we want to start, Walt? You know, I want to cover, like, we've got Pete here. I want to obviously talk about Pete. I want to talk about Brownells. I want to talk a little bit about the past. I think the past, there's a lot of stuff about Brownells and how it started out there. And for sure, I'm always happy to talk about that. And there may be people who don't know. So I would like to get into that. This is the only thing that I have planned. I want to talk about the past, what's going on right now, and the future.
Awesome.
Yeah, the future being the biggest, most important part. What's up, Walt?
Yep.
No, well, I mean, I'm familiar with Brownells from the past.
Yeah.
Getting the catalog in the mail, which was kind of like at one time you get the catalog in the mail and just look, oh, look at all this cool stuff. You know, look at all this cool stuff. You know, kind of like
the Sears, like the Sears catalog, maybe.
Well, yeah, just women in lingerie, you know.
Yeah.
But the same kind of stuff, you know, like oh, look at these cool, you know, all this paint and all this stuff like that. And I mean, that was a gunsmith thing, or some of the people that worked on their guns, you know, their firearms. And a lot of people didn't know who Brownells were. I mean, there were shooters and gun owners because they weren't working on their guns. So, what you guys have done lately, I think, is I'll say genius a little bit.
It takes a team. Right?
And I will ask you about
genius,
that too.
Collective genius.
I think there's been some conflict probably in that process too, I would imagine. And forces against these.
Easy.
What was that, Pete?
Nothing worthwhile is easy. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Quick is asking if your microphone is on. I can hear you. If you guys aren't hearing Pete out there, let us know so that we can correct that. Lola, are you hearing Pete? I think.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead, talk, Pete.
Yeah, I guess your voice is not matching. Oh, I'm not matching up.
Yeah, that's just going to be a
Well,
little
that's
bit of the
common.
delay and stuff like that going
Yeah.
on here.
Okay.
Don't worry about it too much. That's because everyone's live. We're breaking the internet here. I'll make sure that I don't have. I'll turn off some of my
Okay.
internet stuff. Yeah,
So to
yeah.
get my
We'll get that
mind
working.
straight, it was your dad or your granddad that started Brownells?
My grandpa started in 1938,
Okay.
and he started it when my dad was born. So he had his first child, my older aunt, and realized that running a gas station was not going to be a career that he could really follow. So he started doing gunsmithing and his gunsmithing stuff. He was a really good writer as well, and he had all these buddies that were his friends, like um, um, Bill Ruger Sr. He knew the Hornadys, knew Joyce, he knew everybody that was kind of in the business back then, and would write to them and ask them for extra parts. He had an innovative thing back in the day, back in the 40s, called a back order. That was cutting edge technology back in the 40s. Back order Bob is what they used to call him.
Really?
Yep, and that was
So Brownells pioneered the back order. That's interesting.
at least in this industry, right? It was
Yeah.
they would send. He built a lot of trust because it was one of those things in our industry that the handshake was all it took. So people would send him money, and when he got the part, he would send them the part. So he created the back order for us. Now today, when we have a back order, I mean the sirens go off and we get out the whips and start saying, "Where's the product? Let's get going."
Yeah.
So, but back, 70, 80 years ago, or 60 years ago, it was it was an innovation.
Okay.
So started that and just moved on from there.
Yeah.
Now, 1938. We're still we're not involved with things going on in Europe, and 1939 there's Poland, and all of a sudden 1941 there's Pearl Harbor. What happened to Brownells during World War II?
Well, the big catalog, we had to ration the paper. My grandpa had a medical. He was in the cavalry in Iowa, one of the last mounted cavalries. Went to Fort Des
Oh,
Moines in
really?
17. Yeah, we have his his discharge paper, and it said, what did it say? Man of good reputation and decent horse riding was his discharge paper. So he got out on a medical, and my dad was too young to go. So in the 40s, we had to ration paper. We were rationing gas. We delivered by rail car. So to even talk about it, you go, man, this must have been a long time ago. It was a horse-drawn wagon that we would run stuff from the house that he was in down to the rail yard and wait for the train to come in, put it on the train, and send it out. So things kind of, they didn't halt, but they slowed down. And we were shipping stuff to Europe, the European theater and the African theater back then as well. So guys would write over and say, mostly the snipers, the gun guys, would write over and we'd send stuff with the State Department or the Army's blessing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what were ITAR rules or whatever? Is it ITAR?
There
that
were
has to
no
do with
ITAR.
that? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Right.
No ITAR.
We've
No
been
ITAR.
around before ATF and in the formation of the ITAR, so and the commerce rules. So it's we've been around a while.
Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. Imagine how much stuff has changed over, what are we talking about, from 38 till now? What, 80 something years? Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. So your dad was born, and then your grandfather was running everything, and then your dad grew up into running the company.
Yeah, he was a Navy man for a bit, and then came back from the Navy right before Vietnam, and started greatly expanding the products from just a hardcore gunsmith. My grandpa believed that you just needed one hammer and one screwdriver to be a good gunsmith. To a large degree, he was right to get the basics, but then World War II really changed the function of a firearm, and technology came in, and secondary product makers came to marketplace, and that's when my dad, when he came back from the Navy between Korea and Vietnam, he really expanded into those non-traditional brands like Jimmy Clark, so Clark Custom, or Ed Brown. Those type of guys were coming out of Korea and Nam and making up the 45s, and he brought all the parts and all that kind of stuff to really expand that really thick book we all make and produce right now.
Yeah. So my question in a lot of that would be, how was your dad prepared for this, right? How was your dad prepared to take over Brownells? Was there any kind of formal thing that was done, or he just like he came back and like, yeah, you gotta start working here?
He basically came back and started a family right away, and so I needed a job, Grandpa, and
Mm-hmm.
he jumped right in. It's like I think employee number 17.
17. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was a small company back then.
Yeah. What number? By the way, the sun is creating some serious problems over there in your place. I don't know if there's
Oh,
probably a shade or
you've got
something.
he's got a sun mustache.
Yeah.
yes, sir. Just move that up
I
a
don't
little
know.
bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a reflection. I don't know if there's any way to like close off a window, or we'll just have to
No,
wait. The sun is setting. Yeah, because it's
if I can move this way a bit.
no, it's cool. It's cool. Don't worry about it. We'll survive. We'll survive.
Oh, I see what it's doing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. No, that's
Can't
cool.
hear me. You can't see me. Huh?
Yeah. So I don't know, where were we on that?
Okay, and I was going to ask if Pete can go a little bit that way so that
Yeah.
he's not cut off when you do the break.
Yeah, Lola was gonna try to get you to position, but yeah, I think listen, for the next couple of minutes, it's gonna be tough anyway. There you go, right there, right there,
There
right
we
there.
go.
Pete.
How's that?
Oh boy,
Right
yeah,
there.
yeah,
You go back.
right, yeah.
Okay, one more.
There you go, right there,
Perfect.
boom.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys know
Thanks,
that
Lola.
you guys know Pete's not a vampire because the sun's not taking him out. We got that one covered. If anyone's worried about it, right? Confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good there. Okay, the sun's gonna keep moving no matter what we do. At some point, it's gonna go down. There we go. All right, so
But you were mentioned another dynamic to the whole gunsmithing world and all that was the availability of all the surplus weapons
yeah,
Right.
that
Right.
yeah,
people were
So-
modifying and doing all that stuff, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, we came back when I started working. It was all about taking the. We had a lot of Mausers that were coming back in the Cosmoline, so we were doing a lot of custom stuff for people doing custom Mausers or fixing those up. And one of the first products I helped develop when I came back was taking the carrying handle off the flat tops or off the M16s, M14, or the M2s that were coming out of Vietnam.
mm-hmm.
So all those Colts that the soldiers were using out of Nam we were cutting off the tops, and 20 years later we're putting the carrying handle back on.
Yeah, yeah,
It's come kind of full circle.
Yeah.
yeah. Do you ever think like, man, if we would have just stashed those guns away, we wouldn't even have to make a retro line.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
just be
Well, let me back up. If the U.S. government didn't destroy all that stuff,
Right.
you would have plenty of that stuff. But I've seen stuff that they destroyed, like for example, out at MacDill Air Force Base here, when they updated all their old AR-15s and early M16s to like M4s, they just
Yeah.
basically take all those old parts and cut them up,
Yeah.
threw them in the dumpster.
Yeah,
So,
why,
I mean, that
why
could've all
would they
been
do
sold.
that? There was no way to salvage them. To like, I'm assuming they were machine guns or something. They didn't want.
No, I mean, okay, an upper's an upper, a barrel's a barrel. It
Yeah.
doesn't know if it's a machine gun or semi-auto. That's the rules, my friend.
Yep.
Those are
Why
those are
do we
terrible
dump
rules.
Why do we dump armored personnel carriers and make a reef in the water?
Oh yeah. Don't start.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do. We yeah. Listen, the fish like it. I don't know. Right?
Here's the example. Here's the example I use. The U.S. government, you know, in Britain, you can't own a 22, but you can buy a tank.
Right.
Right.
But over here, you can own all the guns you want, but the government won't let you have a little bit of armor. They're
Yeah.
scared, you know, they're going to do something bad. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
No.
That's
That's
tanks for
I-
everyone.
I agree.
Yeah.
I stumbled into some early AR stuff when they did that. Somebody I knew was in the military out there and actually pulled stuff out of the garbage can.
Mm-hmm.
Their early pre trapdoor stocks.
Right.
I even got a couple of the early birdcage. I mean the three prong flash hiders, the lightweight ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I saw parts cut up that was like, holy cow, man. I mean, for a long time, nobody wanted that stuff because it wasn't the latest thing. But now that whole circle of life has came back around to the retro stuff, and people are crazy about stuff. So,
Yeah.
it's the way it goes.
Do you guys have an informal or formal kind of like library or museum or something of all the guns going back?
We do. It's an informal one. We have our helpline, the gun techs.
Mm-hmm.
When you call up and ask for some gunsmith help, you talk to this group of people there that've been helping out other gunsmiths and do-it-yourselfers for decades. They've got a library, but it's guns that they've been working on, so it's not this pristine museum type stuff. We do have some interesting pieces that have come by our across the threshold that are in a more secure spot, and we're starting to roll those out into our retail store because they're really fascinating. We had for example, we've got the Sharps rifle from
Quigley Down Under. Yeah,
Quigley.
yep.
It's coming back. It's out at the NRA right now, but it's coming back. And we've got some other things. Got a pygmy gun from back in the 30s that my grandpa got from a guy that was over in the Pacific.
Oh, okay.
We brought all that kind of stuff back.
Yeah.
So we got some neat things.
Yeah, yeah. So is there any thought of some point putting something together? Or are you going to do something kind of in the store that people can come in and see?
Yeah, probably in the store right now to try to gather just to kind of show that kind of stuff. And I like all my firearms are using. You go out and use them and touch them. So we don't want to have it behind glass. No one can touch it. So it's going to be kind of stuff that we can get out every once in a while and show people and let the gunsmiths out there who've never seen some of these guns get their hands on it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the thing is here, I don't know if we could fast forward a little bit. You coming into the game, so the company started when your dad was born. When you were born, where was the company at? You're from what are you? From six? I have to go back to Wikipedia.
Yeah, 52. What am I? I was born in 69.
69.
So, yeah, 51. I'll be 52 soon enough.
Yeah. So.
I didn't go to the military, so I came back after about I don't know, almost a decade out of college working on my own, and came back, and I guess my claim to fame was I started one of the very, very first e-commerce sites in our industry. My last job before I came back was in Silicon Valley, building up Silicon Valley in the construction trades. So I saw all when Amazon was just doing. Borders was kicking Amazon's butt back then. So I got to grow up with all those web brains and do a lot of work for them. So I got a chance to just absorb all that and brought that back to this industry.
Yeah, very cool. I saw you did an interview with the guys from AR15.com where you were talking about a lot of this. If folks want to go check that out. You were building elevators, you said, in Miami?
I was an elevator and elevators and escalators, that kind of thing. So subcontractors to all the big high-rise stuff. So, yeah, it's a cool job.
Yeah, so that was your entry before coming into Brownells, right?
Right.
And then you have a degree in marketing, so you're a marketing guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, marketing and administration and MBA and all kinds of other things there to keep your mind sharp.
Yeah, yeah. Did you want to ask something here, Walt? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, marketing. And I understand, but this trade, this world's a little different than the average. We're not selling toothpaste or things that people have to have. You don't have. I don't want to get people upset.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a gun.
Watch your dirty mouth.
Oh, we're lighting up over here.
Yeah.
Or you don't
How
have
dare
to have
you, Walter?
You don't have to have the latest site, or you don't have to have the latest.
Stop, Walter.
I know. God forbid. So it's kind
right
of a
now.
different. Sometimes you have to convince or show people they need something, and I think that's kind of what Brownells did. And even early on, you mentioned your father or your grandfather was a writer too.
Right.
So I know Brownells wrote like tech papers for different products and how to use them and things like that. People collected that stuff. The gunsmith people kept it as before there was the interweb. They flip through their pages and go, "Oh, look at that! Yeah, that's how I do that."
Yeah.
Back when people could read,
Yeah.
Right.
So
yes, the how-to was we went from a hardcore gunsmith at our beginning that my grandfather targeted, and my dad changed the focus a bit to be a tabletop gunsmith. Anybody who's doing the fixing on their tabletop, which expanded the market from about 17,000, 20,000 people back in the day when we started, to about 2 million when my dad decided to broaden the scope. But when we did that, we had to write a lot of content on how to. People, when they're fixing a gun, one of the big things when they first change a casset nut or put in a bolt, they don't want the gun to blow up on them. That's their biggest fear that's kind of rooted down deep. I don't want it to blow up my hand. So we had to put a lot of how-tos to make sure that each step was followed. So once they get that first thing done, then they start rolling into everything else. So a lot of tech help, a lot of online stuff now, a lot of articles were written.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty awesome.
All that stuff from days go past, all that stuff about how to do this is still all available?
Yeah. It's all online right now. We have 4 books that my dad wrote called Gunsmith Kinks, things along those lines. So it's kind of how to do it. But back to the marketing question, kind of started this. How do you inspire creativity is really what it is, and how do you firearms are something very personal when you buy one. We're like, what's your favorite hunting gun? And you'll get the caliber, and then you'll get the hunting story. Mm-hmm. So these are really passionate. What's your protection pistol? You get why it's your protection pistol. Mm-hmm. So you're really marketing to the heart and to the individual person. Mm-hmm. And when you start to accessorize, that's why the AR-15 is fantastic. You can make that just exactly do the thing that you want, look like the way you want, fit it perfectly to you without having to buy a lathe or a mill. Mm-hmm. And everybody wants that personalization, and that's kind of what we're selling is make it yours. It's a very personal thing. So all those 60 or 70 guns that you have, they're all individual characters to them.
Yeah, and by the way, I see questions and stuff coming in. We're going to definitely get to that, okay? And I see super chats and stuff. We'll get to that here in a second. Walt, did you want to follow up? By the way, smash the thumbs up, people.
And the AR-15's the perfect Lego gun because you don't have to be a gunsmith to build one. Mm-hmm.
Right.
You don't have to.
I think the AR is easier than a 1911, which is not really the most complicated gun out there, but it's definitely.
No, but to get it to run right, it can be complicated. and not that an AR-15 can't be complicated to get to run right too, if you don't have any clue. Yeah. But the physical assembly of it's pretty simple. I mean,
it is.
So with basic tools you can buy or you can borrow from your friends, you can put one together.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's pretty simple and easy. And then these days we're talking about I don't know, not these exact days, but it's relatively inexpensive. Prices have come down and
back up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think availability is more the issue now than price. So
right.
On certain things, there's as we know, there's been a run on everything here lately. So
So here's one of the things that I know you're looking at the chat. Is there something in the chat?
Well, at DCG 44, 60, 70, I guess 60 or 70 guns.
Oh. Rookie numbers.
Yeah, I'm a rookie.
Yeah.
I was trying to be generous. In case somebody's listening and don't know how many guns I've really got.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah.
I couldn't tell you exactly.
Yeah. So let's go to this for a second. We'll go to the super chat because Tyven gave us a super chat. We'll go to his question and then we'll jump back into the history stuff. The Tyven Show, shout out to him. He's one of the moderators, helps us out, always here. We appreciate him. Especially we appreciate the $5. Tyven says, can you ask about record gun sales and what he's selling and what's the best-selling gun everyone is buying and most sold gun in his store? So there.
Sure. Okay, so record gun sales.
I don't know if I know there's lots of people over there keeping tracks of all of this, so, the numbers,
I'll speak to adjusted NICS, and there's some great resources for adjusted NICS. Mm-hmm. NSSF has some great charts. Mm-hmm. We've seen a doubling for the season. Usually in the summertime, you'll have a big spike through Christmas, and it starts to swing down. So right now is usually the lowest period in the year. We're seeing a straight line across about twice as many guns that we would have sold in this period we've ever sold. So we're seeing some days are up 300% on average. Right now we'd be about that 34% year over year right now. So it's a good jump. and it's pretty consistent. And the industry is bone dry right now,
Yeah.
meaning there's no inventory in piles in anybody's location, including retail, wholesalers, or factories. What's interesting, in March, the industry before March 15th, before everybody kind of got this COVID fever going, the industry had a lot of fat in it, a lot of inventory sitting around. So we saw a huge spike, and what that was is it was the industry the inventory getting sucked out of the industry. Factories can keep up with a short-term 20% spike. We saw was 40s and 50s and 60% consistent spike when you measure the weeks. So sales were up, that we could fill demand right then, but then as inventory depleted, demand was still high, and we're bone dry right now. The best selling right now is the protection pistols. When people walk in, they'll say, "I want a pistol, I want a shotgun," and they're looking at Glocks right now, because Glocks are Glocks. Your 9mm, your 9mm Glocks. Then when Glocks run out, they'll go right to the Shield. Everybody wants the SIG, but SIG can't keep up. So when the SIGs are in, they're like this as well. But it's those companies that have a good supply and ability to supply. So the winners right now, Glock, Smith & Wesson, which is they're really ramping up. When SIGs are in, great, but I would say the third is going to be the Rugers. And those are the great pistols. And then below that will be the shotgun. It's going to be the whatever.
Your Mossbergs, I'm assuming your traditional like Mossbergs and all that.
Yeah,
I'll take a guess at it. Basic pump shotguns. You can't keep it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whether they're Mossbergs, whether they're made in Turkey, wherever they're made, basic pump shotguns. That's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're going to be those shorter barrels, not the long duck length, not the 34s or above. So these are tactical home shotguns. And then right after that sale, in the same box will be a bunch of home defense 9mm and 12 gauge buckshot. If the person's buying for the other family members, it'll be a 20 gauge shotgun. So really? we're seeing a stuff that sounds like this, and you guys could probably confirm this. I've never wanted to buy a gun before, but now it's time. And show me what I need to know. Show me what I need to know. And we'll go through, and the first thing we show them is where to go get training. And then the second thing is, here's your Glock, your Smith, or your SIG, or your Ruger, and here's your Mossberg. But go get training.
Yeah. I think a lot of that's happening with the shotgun thing. This is me, just speculating or whatever. I think that's happening because in most places that's what's legal.
That's right.
Your pump action.
Well, Joe Biden says that's all you need. So
yeah,
Joe Biden says that's all you need, then boom.
Yeah. That's not what he's talking now, but we'll definitely, we'll definitely get it. That's old Joe Biden. That's old Joe Biden. This is real old, new Joe Biden. If we want to figure it out. So, I think that, and I saw you talking about this on Fox. I think was it Stuart Varney?
Stu Varney.
Yep, I saw you talking about it. It's one of the things that made me say I reached out to Ryan after I saw that, because I think like if I was them and you came on, I'd want to talk to you for a long time. But this is the way the news business works, right? So
sound bites.
Yeah, it's just little sound bites and stuff like that. So it's amazing. I think you said 95% like volume spike from you guys that you guys have seen.
Yep, it's been a stellar run since March.
Yeah,
and it's across the board. It's across the board type of everything that we have is being sold right now. And it starts with the cheaper ammo, which has been burnt through in the industry. So get your name on back orders in many places, frankly. Even some of the competitors are Brownells. Get your 9mm. And then it goes to the higher grade stuff and the more precision, but everything's being sold right now. Still running out. There's a big run on mags right now. Yeah. Because of, Freedom. Hopefully Freedom is being delivered in California soon.
Yes. Right. Hopefully.
And yeah, so that's making them run on all high capacity magazines. Now, in New York, we're pushing hard. We're going to be pushing hard there too once this ruling comes through. That's the next area where we can hopefully get some of those things peeled back as unconstitutional.
Absolutely, yeah. So that leads into one of the questions. I'm gonna try to take questions from as many people as I can. I know there's a lot of questions and stuff. I'll try to go through this in order. 42 Chilled says Brownell's take on gun control and the plan to fight it.
There are gun control. There are three ways I would say people or the gun control advocates have attacked this industry. The traditional one we see that are legislation based. They've lost at the Fed level for a while, so they're going back to the state level. So get involved in your state gun groups and fight at the state level and at the municipal level. Always fight back on this, because that's once there's a foothold, they continue to grab and take and point out to them that it's not the law-abiding gun owners that are doing the problems here, as we all know how to fight that. The second thing is a little more insidious. The banking institutions are starting to constrain financing to gun manufacturers. So if they can't get financing to make guns, there's less guns.
Yeah, an effective ban.
An effective ban. So we heard of what is that, choke point under Obama. It was brought to light, and the gun control group said, yeah, you caught us, but we're going to continue to push that initiative. So that stranglehold on finance is causing some concerns. It manifests itself also, you saw it if you follow the public companies, hostile board members coming in and saying, Ruger, we need a policy for smart guns. What are we doing there? And that kind of stuff. Yeah, I had a friend call it, and it's a proxy battle, what they call it. When you vote, all that proxy stuff. That's part of that same group. And then also insurance companies are saying the math is not right to give you a cheap insurance, so we're going to just make it more expensive to be in business. So there's that stuff, and then you have the judicial push, all these lawsuits that are starting to manifest themselves in clear violation of the Lawful Trade in Commerce, Firearm and Commerce Act. So all those things cost money. All those things slow down what I would call delivering freedom in America. So that's how those things are happening. We fight them by you got to be courageous and put yourself out there as corporate leaders and the industry does. Cutting deals like Smith & Wesson did 20 years ago with I can't remember what it was that they did. They took away it was a high cap mag when they were owned by the British conglomerate. When they cut a deal with the government to say, hey, lay off under Clinton, lay off of us and we'll reduce the mag count.
Yeah. Carve outs for them. Yeah, we've seen different things. Yeah.
But that's
not
capitulation.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in the end.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It shouldn't. It's gun control. It's encroaching upon civil liberties. I say, well, I'll say this today, and then the follow-up statement is we need to reduce the number of laws, but just enforce the laws now, and then we need to fight to make sure that the laws that are on the books are still constitutional. And I would argue that there's a lot of them that are not, or there's overreach or regulatory pressure that's just unfair to many demographics that aren't the elite demographics, have the cash to buy security. So the Constitution is for everybody, not just the ones with money.
Absolutely.
We got to reel back these agencies that decide they're going to make law when they're not there to make law. ATF. Yeah. EPA. Like EPA, for example, EPA. What if the EPA says no more lead, right?
Right. They try. They sneak it in.
Yeah. Well, so that's backdoor gun control stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
But anyways,
I think we're always in danger of seeing those kinds of things, and the people who are the most disenfranchised by this are the people that those politicians, those policy setters out there profess that they're in the business of taking care of those people. Those are the people who are the most disenfranchised. If you do that kind of stuff, all of a sudden ammo becomes very expensive. All of a sudden now the average person out there, it's really expensive for them to defend themselves. Right?
Hey, you don't want the poor children to have lead, do you? You don't want the poor. That's the techniques they use. Well, it's gun violence. It's gun violence. I never saw a gun get up and run down through the streets of Chicago and shoot people. So.
Well, I think, and that goes back to what Pete was saying, that we need to. How about like dealing with the things that are already there, enforcing those laws? You already, in a lot of these places, they know who the bad guys are. Right? It's not the law-abiding guy out there who's going to work every day and wants to be able to defend himself, or this is his hobby, he enjoys this, he enjoys competing, whatever it is, or the guy who's hunting. It's not that guy. It's someone else who doesn't care what the laws are, but you know who it is. You know where those guys are.
I'd rather put the energy we're all putting in and trying to have policies, the anti-gun people and the our side, the pro-gun, pro-liberty people, put all that energy and cash that we're using fighting at each other at the root cause of what causes violence. I think like what Maj is doing right now when he goes right into there's a lot of guys really they're going there teaching conflict resolution and how to be a good citizen. To people who haven't ever had a ray of hope, and Maj is a great ray of hope. I'd rather put the energy there than trying to defend the line that's been drawn by the Constitution. I'd rather put all our energies in that.
Yeah, you know what's fun?
We've got to fight for that line.
Absolutely, yeah, and everyone fights these battles in different ways, right? And I think like guys like Maj or Kevin Dixie, we've had Edgar from Guns Are for Everyone on here. Those people are each uniquely equipped to fight those battles in their own way. One of the biggest problems I find with when it comes to, like, we're talking about all these people buying guns, right? 5 million new gun buyers, etc. So many people out there don't even know about the Second Amendment.
Right.
If you think about this,
don't even know about any of the amendments. None, zero.
No, they don't.
Because they've never been taught any of this stuff in the leftist schools. So,
yes, and they don't understand. They don't understand how they could do these things. There's lots of people who are hardworking people. They don't want to get in trouble and all that, and they just believe like, hey, I can't defend myself, so I have to deal with this kind of stuff. And I think that it seems like a small thing, but once people start to understand that and get into guns, I just say it's like a gateway drug to freedom. You start realizing all of these things, and you start looking at what people, the politicians, because we're all hiring these politicians. We're all voting for them. We should be keeping an eye on them and making sure they do what they tell us they're going to do. And this goes across the spectrum, right? Because we're getting problems from people who say that they're Republicans, conservatives, they believe in the Constitution, all that kind of stuff. But getting people to understand this is a big deal. It
is. And there's in areas where, and I think it's being made a point right now when all the institutions that we rely on for safety, law enforcement, good citizenship, which is based on, do you have good economy, safety in your job, food's available, you're not having to be quarantined and put that in that pressure cooker of not having your travel freedom. All those things have been broken down, and now people are realizing that those institutions that gave us safety we can no longer rely upon them. And they're realizing, wait a second, there's this document that some old guys wrote a couple of years ago that gives me gives me certain liberties, and they're starting to explore that. That's the largest growth in firearms sales have been new firearm owners in urban areas, which are traditionally those that thought they did not need a firearm because the police were there and they looked down their nose at us. Now they're saying, wait a second, maybe there's something to this constitutional right. And they're voting with their dollars.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Let me get another comment. Flying Rich gave us a couple of bucks here. Thank you, Flying Rich. He says, compete night shooting gallery into the BOP. So I'm assuming he says get into the BOP. I'm assuming. So he's asking a
Yep.
BOP question. Okay.
How do you get in there?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
top secret.
okay.
Be a good advocate. Be a good Second Amendment advocate.
Uh-huh.
Make your voice be heard. Hank, you're in. What
Yes,
was your
absolutely.
journey?
Listen, the thing is, so I always tell people this, and we've had Ryan on, we've had Josh on, we've had Roy on. Shout out to all those guys. By the way, the BOP crew, awesome. I want to have a conversation about that. But those are really great guys. Honestly, I feel like those guys are like family, you know. And that's not. There's companies who say that. I think those guys really mean that. Lola and I definitely, we feel that about them. So those guys have been on, and those guys have laid it out pretty much. If you're a gun guy and you're doing cool gun stuff, you know, share your cool gun stuff on social media, and you can at Brownells and put hashtag BOP in there or hashtag Bureau of Propaganda, and, you know, just do the cool things and put it in there. And there's folks looking at this at some point, they will recognize what you're up to, and they'll reach out to you, and it'll happen. So
show Brownell some love. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. There you go. But it doesn't have to
cool
be.
stuff.
It doesn't have to be a Brownells thing. Those guys are just looking for cool stuff going on in the gun world and the community, and it doesn't have to be specifically Brownells. You know. So there you go. One of the ways to not get in there is to harass Pete.
I do have a blacklist.
Yeah.
The squeaky wheel will get changed.
Be a good Second Amendment supporter. Let your voice be heard. Be bold and be out there.
Yeah, Pete's in charge of a lot of things, but I don't know. He's not. He can't help you get in there any faster.
No.
So I'll just put it to you that way. You know.
You got somebody gave you $50. You see that?
Oh no, I didn't see it. Hold on, let me see. Where is that? Let's get to that there. Okay, boom. Yeah, let's get that comment up there. Thanks to Jen Champ Jr. for the $50. We appreciate that. He says, pair character writing a firework rocket disappearing away before bursting into the sky. So I guess that's a description of a sticker. So basically, Jen Champ got the sticker of the pair character. Someone's going to have to go look that up and send me a picture, because I can't see it on the system that I'm using.
You can't see that?
Yeah, so he got a sticker. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. That's awesome. Right out there. Let's see. I'm trying to get some other questions in
Guns
here.
and Gears in the chat. Guns and Gears in the chat.
Oh, shout out to Guns and Gear. Let's see what's Guns and Gear saying. Let me see. Where is he? Here we go. Oh, Mr. Guns and Gear channel says BOP member checking in. And if you want to know how Guns and Gear got in there, it's because he has a beautiful bald head, okay, and a magnificent beard, and does lots of cool gun stuff.
Yeah,
so you're competing.
Cool guys.
Yeah, you're competing with Guns and Gear. Let's just put it that way. So shout out to Guns and Gear. Go. Huh?
You know, Hank, that what you're exemplifying is why the Bureau of Propaganda is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good community. I mean, I see you guys, at the shows, you're helping each other out. When we go on our big junkets or boondoggles with the social crowd, it's a lot of fun, guys. If you can ever hook up with them at any event or anything that they're doing or any shoot that they're at, do it. It's a lot of fun. It's a big family. It's a great industry to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are always traveling around the country too. So, what were you going to say, Walt?
All right. Who was the mastermind of the BOP? Who said we need to? And in reality, the BOP needs to reach out to a younger audience.
Yeah.
True.
I know this a little bit. I know Roy's wife actually designed the flag.
She did.
Yes.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
That was cigars and scotch.
But it does reach out to a different audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Obviously, there's a lot of my opinion, the traditional gunsmith is sitting at his little bench and he's surrounded by his tools and he's focused like he's got his things on, and sometimes a lot of these guys think all that stuff is silly. When you laugh and you have fun, but guns, you're silly. You're not. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
But that kind of limits the audience too to that mindset. Where you can't have fun and do that stuff too. Or be a little goofy or something like that. So
yeah.
I think
our Our industry, 15 years ago, it suffered from I'm in the club and I'm closing the door, and you better know about guns a lot before I even crack the door. So you almost had to be born into the industry
Mm-hmm.
about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm. It was a
Yeah,
there was a,
well,
Go
it was a
ahead.
little bit of that from some of the old school guys. Not all of them. Not all of them. Some of those.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Those. But there was a
I mean,
little bit of that. There was a little bit.
yeah.
The
There's
demographic,
there,
let me get
Go
this. So
ahead.
the demographic was a lot of our customers were of that older crowd. They were very good.
Mm-hmm.
And we realized that we needed to open the door a lot to bring in this new generation that's coming in, and
Mm-hmm.
they were coming in with a different experience. There was a generation that didn't take their kids out hunting or to the range because they were really, nose to the grindstone, trying to make things work as life got more complicated during that 70s and 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a generation of kids that weren't into the group and were being taught through video games what firearms are all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we need to bend that curve a little bit and
Yeah.
do a little bit more of those as they moved into their 30s and their 40s. We needed to have someplace for them to land that felt like it was theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of what the Bureau was about. Going digital is a big part of that. Being able to enjoy a broader, quicker, three gun came about by then too, so it was real quick. It wasn't to stand there in your leather strapped up jacket shooting offhand with your hand in your pocket, those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
So the games changed, the environment changed, and how you present yourself to the market and how you create a community also changed with this new technology we're even on
Yeah.
today. So we're just
Right.
adapting.
There were some old guys saying all you needed is a shotgun. You went into a gun store. This happened to Lola and myself. We went into a gun store and the dudes were like, "Here, little lady, all you need is a shotgun. When you make this sound, chick, it scares everyone." you know, you know. I mean, there was that kind of thing, and I think that kind of thing turns a lot of people off, right?
Right. So the real fat numbers are in big numbers. 110 million gun owners in America, whether they raise their hands or not. It's
Okay.
somewhere between 108 and 110.
Okay.
75 million are three guns, up to three guns.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 to 3 guns.
Hmm.
30 million are 3 to 5, and 5 and above. And you can slice it even deeper. 5 and above gets you into about 5 million. Well, yeah, about 5 million is what we can put our best guess on that in America. So
Yeah. I've
yeah, so
always
you're
guessed about that number. I've always guessed like, yeah,
yep,
it's probably around 5 million or so. Yeah.
5 to 6.
Of the hardcore, like we've got multiple guns, kinds of dudes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a few of us that have more than 70 guns, but
Yeah.
no.
We would no one's, you know.
I don't know how many. I really don't know the exact number.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
how
something
you.
I
That's the
work
real elite dudes. I don't know. If you have
I
to
got
count,
10.
you're not a gun guy.
Yeah.
It's not like a bragging thing. I don't
No,
brag about
I'm
having
not saying
guns,
that. Yeah.
but you know, it's not something I worry too much about. You know?
Yeah,
Like, okay,
yeah.
I got.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So let me do something here. Christian Grest, we're talking about BOP. He gave us $25. He says getting into the BOP has really been one of the coolest things I've been a part of in the firearms world. Hats off to Brownells.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. And you know it is. So how did these guys like? How I think you were saying they made you drunk. They got you drunk and they convinced you this was a thing. How does
They
this?
showed up with a flag and said, "Look what we've been doing for a while." So it's Ryan and Josh and that team and Roy.
Mhm.
We have a lot of fun together, and those guys are very creative. And you probably had them on. They're probably great dynamic
Mhm.
energy when they're on individually or together.
Yeah. Oh,
And they just
absolutely.
came up with it, and it's great. It's be part of the community.
Mhm.
And we approach social a lot different than traditional marketing companies would, which means we took a couple of years to build the brand, and then we turn it over to you guys to customers. That we are a reflection of what you tell us, not what we hammer down on you. So Bureau propaganda is your voice, your club, your organization. We just happen to be able to put the swag pieces together for you and make it kind of collectively cool. So, but it's you guys that are really making it it's awesome experience. So
Yeah,
that's what we do with our brand these days.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not like, if people think it's something that's trying to push Brownells, because it sounds like that, right? Bureau of Propaganda. Those guys really are trying. I've seen them like trying to recognize folks out there in the gun world that are doing cool things and sharing it. And honestly, there's no limit. It's not a secret thing or whatever. Like, every gun guy can be in there. Just, we'll just, those guys just have to travel around a lot or get around to people. But it's nothing like that. It's really trying to recognize what folks are doing out there. When there's a lot of companies that, and I could tell you from my point of view, Walter, and for that matter, Pete, as a guy doing this YouTube thing, as a content creator, social media person, there's a lot of companies that have zero respect for us. They have, when they look at us, they're like, whatever, we could care less about you, right? That's getting less and less now, because I think they're realizing in this age how important it is. But there's still folks who feel that way, like, we don't have that much respect for what you do. It's no big deal. And it's cool to have folks out there who recognize that people are doing things. It's not going to make you, like some people might think, oh, this is going to make you somehow blow up and all of a sudden. No, I don't think it has anything to do with that. It's just, here's some cool stuff going on, and these guys are sharing it. Walter, who is a manufacturer and he sells stuff, he's in there. There's quite a few folks out there, all walks of life.
I wasn't even trying. That's the thing. We just make stuff and share the stuff and show it, and boom.
Yeah, and,
boom,
but you do, and you do a lot of stuff. I think you embody it in your way, Walter, because so for example, Walter and I, we do a lot of things together, and he's doing, those wind up being Brownells things, right? Or we're shouting out Brownells, and there's probably people going to you, Walter, what are you doing? Why are you shouting out the Brownells guys? Those guys are already big.
No, I haven't heard that, but it's like there's this thought that, why are you propping up? You're not getting anything for that? Yeah. That kind of thing. It's like, you're not getting anything for that. Why are you talking about those guys? Yeah. Or any other company? It's like, well, because I use their stuff and I like their stuff, and
and you were also helping me out. You were also helping me out, which, by the way, the Brownells guys recognize that. So when I talk to Josh and Ryan, they're like, and Roy, they're like, hey, we see that Walter is helping you out to do stuff, and they want to be able to do something that you would recognize, hey, we see you and what you're doing.
Right. And they help you get new stuff so we can do stuff, that kind of stuff.
We should. This is what we should be doing.
Stuff. Yeah.
We've got a bit of a philosophy that you may have heard the phrase, a rising tide lifts all boats. Our phrase is, how do you be the tide? How do you lift all boats, including those that would be traditional competitors? So if the industry is doing well, healthy dialogue, healthy sales, we all do better. Because the worst thing you can do is start to have this scarcity mindset, like this either or. I win and you lose mindset. There's this concept of plenty. There is plenty of work. There is plenty of voice. There is plenty of room. And if you share that with your excess to those that have a bit of a scarcity, you try to be the tide. We all do better, not just as an industry, but I believe as a society.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And Roy, you probably welcome competition, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because
it sharpens the saw.
You get to show how better you are. Right?
Well, well, listen, it does happen. There are companies that ask me that. They're like, why are you doing stuff with these guys all the time? And I was like, because I like those guys. I love those guys. When it comes to Roy and Josh and Ryan, these are really cool guys who I'm convinced of that are not just there's people in the industry I only hear from if it's SHOT Show or NRA or something like that.
When they want something.
Or they're putting out something. These are not those guys. I think they genuinely mean it. They're not the same person. Like Ryan and Josh and Roy are all different people, and they're all awesome. Somehow they figure out how to. You need to give those guys raises, Pete. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Josh.
give those guys give those guys more money. But how does this work inside of Brownells? If you could tell us, I don't know whether you can or not, because as a marketing guy, that's what your degree is in, and I think I saw you say you were the first marketing guy for Brownells. Is that right?
My dad was my grandfather was basically a mechanic and a writer,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad was um, lawyer slash doctor. Didn't like that when it came into writing himself, a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
Was the first degreed right in school
Mm-hmm.
marketer.
Mm-hmm.
So how does the marketing work? Right? Is that the kind of the
Well,
question?
yeah. So where I was going with it is, how does it work? Because I think you have a traditional marketing wing or department or whatever we want to call it at Brownells, but BOP and what those guys are doing is kind of like, I don't know whether what you think about this, but I always call it the guerrilla marketing team.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
Right.
how did that,
Well,
how does that work and function within?
So the social front, we do have a traditional marketing function, which is send out a catalog, send out emails, use the four P's of marketing: pricing and promotion and your product and your placement, all that stuff. It's traditional theory, but we kind of put that um, as we started to develop our digital strategies, websites, um, and social integration into what we do. The social part is almost eclipsing the traditional marketing as far as brand reinforcement, brand identity. If you're in brand awareness,
Mm-hmm.
you guys are talking about it quite a bit, and we go from this idea of we need to be in control of everything to letting go of control and let the social zeitgeist define who we are
Mm-hmm.
and give us feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that's why we bought AR-15, was to help grow that voice, and it gives us incredible feedback. Not just us, but everybody who believes that their brand is a reflection of what their customers are saying.
Mm-hmm.
When we get partners like that, the brand just like this grows because it's your brand now as well. So we're
Mm-hmm.
letting go of it,
Right.
and you get to define it. And if we do a good job, we like the outcome. If we
Yeah.
don't do a good job, you'll let us know.
Mm-hmm.
So this team of inside marketers are really engaged in building better relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And we think through relationships, since this is a passion industry, you sell person to person, you're engaging a passion.
Mm-hmm.
We want to ignite that and encourage that, and that only happens when you guys can say, I know Pete, I know Josh, I know Ryan, I know Chad, our CEO,
Mm-hmm.
I know John, because we're out there building relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and with that comes trust, and we try to be a reflection of what we believed in, and we hope that resonates well. And if not, well, I can tell you we get good feedback. It's not all what you would consider rosy.
Mm-hmm.
It helps us sharpen the saw a bit
Yeah.
and become better.
Yeah. I think it helps to not be afraid of like, or micromanage every little thing. Were you going to say something, Walt?
no, I'm just listening. I'm absorbing.
Yes.
I
Absorbing.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, let me get a couple of things in here. So Lola, just on that subject, I believe Lola says that's very unique of Brownells, the interactions with not just gun folks, but folks in other fields with similar love for the 2A. For example, Valentina, Bullet Valentina, Big Mo, Yeti, who's like a Jeep guy. Big Mo, we've had him on. He's a barbecue guy. So there's lots of different people, and this becomes more of a lifestyle like that.
Right.
You
That's
know.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. If we kept our market just on hardcore gunsmiths, we'd be
Yeah.
a much smaller organization.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can broaden our reach, we can help feed that gunsmith, our core customer, and we can help feed the industry by encouraging people to get out there, go to training, make those firearms as personal as possible. And here's how you do it. And We use people that are in markets that are good supporters. Yeti, every off-road person has a backup firearm somewhere that I know that's really off-road, that Yeti and YOLO live.
Yep.
Big Mo, great guy.
Yeah, good dude.
Everybody who's, so we try to work with people that have a good independent streak in them, that have a voice that can be a kind of a beacon of truth out there in their world, as you guys are, and help whatever we can do to help your boat float higher. How do we be the tide for you guys, or Yeti, or the ones that are being talked about? So
yeah, DCG.
That's how we.
Okay, very good. I agree with that. DCG 44 says Roy and Josh. I'm getting this one in because it's about my buddies. He says Roy and Josh would be good people if they sold encyclopedias. It's who they are, not what they do. I agree with that. They are good guys. Each uniquely in their own way. Go ahead.
So next time you get Roy on, try to throw any question at him. He can answer it, and it'll be pretty darn close to right, if not absolutely right.
Trust me, I do this with Roy with Ryan. I do it. Are we talking about Roy or Ryan?
Roy.
Yeah, Roy. Oh yeah, absolutely, Roy. Yeah, Roy is like an encyclopedia. Yeah,
he is a walking encyclopedia.
He's a history professor, and also his twin evil brother Wolf Wolf Howitzer.
Yeah.
So let me ask a serious question. So in the inception of the BOP, was there resistance internally?
No.
Did people say this isn't going to work? You're going to scare people off or anything like that? No. Any conflicts with
There's some general. So one of the major conflicts we had was about 20 years ago, and it was a website won't work. This new online stuff. What the hell are you doing a website for?
Yeah.
So that was.
Can you believe that?
Old school and new school. So I had that wind at my back, and I was saying, see, I don't want to say this. I have never sold this to my father, but the website's working out pretty good. So with that learning moment, I don't push back at all on new ideas. I came in as a 30-year-old. The 30-year-olds coming into Brownells have energy. They've got ideas. I'm realizing at 50 plus that my ideas are dated. So
yeah.
You got principles there, but they call the values. Those values haven't changed. But how you do it,
what you have to do is be able to listen to the young blood coming into the system, and if you have that mindset, I think that works, right? There's new younger people coming in to work at Brownells, or that you guys are getting out there and dealing with, and it's just being able to listen to people. Go ahead, Walt. I think you wanted to get something.
No,
in here.
Well, yeah, it made me think about companies that haven't made it, like Sears and J.C. Penney's and all these big retailers didn't embrace the internet when they should have embraced the internet.
Yeah.
And maybe paired up with
Blockbuster,
or paired up with the giants that were coming on, and get their products and get their name out and these other things, and now they're all gone.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, like Sears. I mean, Sears was the internet of the beginning with their catalogs. I mean, that was the internet at one time.
That's right.
You open the catalog and you open the wish.
They're not gone. The companies might be on the brink of that, but it evolved into something else. That's what happened, and they just didn't hear. So we were talking about Amazon. When Amazon first came in, everyone was like, "What's this guy doing?"
They're selling books.
Yeah, who wants books over the internet?
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So then you realize, well, I need to bring other stuff in here. I need to bring consumables and all that stuff that everybody uses every day. And what do you do when you want something? You get on the internet, you type in eBay or Amazon, or if you're looking for gun stuff, you type in the guys that are on the internet would sell gun parts, and you get what you want most of the time. Normal times you do.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, the mom and pop. I mean, the idea of having there are still gun shops. Obviously, some people want to touch things before they buy it, and I get that. But it's really even those guys need to get on the train and embrace the internet, and nothing else to spread their own gospel. It's hard to convince some people. They're so set in their ways that
There's a couple of things at retail stores. Well, by law, we have to have a retail store to make that transaction of the core product, the firearm. So the retail stores will always be there, and God bless them all. They have the best chance to build the culture, the local culture for firearms. They have the best chance for the relationship building. They have the best chance to engage new gun owners or anybody who wants protection or competition, and to build that local community. Communities are still face to face, even though when we can now do it through the internet, it's still face to face. And those retail stores have the best opportunity to do that. And so you have to change a little bit of what you're doing. You're not just selling widgets, because I could sell that with same widget. What I cannot do is encourage that person how to use it, how to do it. I cannot encourage that person through persuasion or opportunity to go out to the range or come on a hunt with me. Retail stores have to change what they think they're doing. They're creating community and building relationships.
Right.
And when that happens, man, you skyrocket. So have a coffee with people. Go out and those types of places, those types of things. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me do this here, because I think we're making a good transition of something I want to talk about. We have over 100 people watching us live. Thanks so much to all the folks out there. I'm gonna ask you to smash the thumbs ups. Okay, just do that for us. It'd be awesome if we get to 100 thumbs ups here tonight. That would be great. So just please do that. So let me ask this, because thinking about the future, and I agree with what you're saying. I think if we look at this like shoe stores, right, or sneaker stores, people used to go there because that was the only place that you would get the latest sneakers and stuff like that. Now, even with sneakers, if someone knows their size, I see my kids doing it. Once they know,
I buy them online.
They get them online. So it doesn't mean that sneaker stores all have to go away. It's that you have to change what that is. You have to make it a destination for a reason for the kids to come there and hang out and find out or learn or meet people that they might not meet, otherwise. And so you've got to try to make like a community thing there in order to really do this with people now. Give people a reason to come there and hang out and do something. And when they get connected to that place, they'll start shopping there and buying things from you just because they're connected to you now. Do you agree with that?
I do, and I'll give you examples of where that's been incredibly successful, where sneaker stores have moved from, I've got inventory in the back that I can give you today. They've taken out a lot of their inventory, and now they'll do gait analysis, which is where do you hit? Does this shoe fit? And then also they'll have events. Let's go do a 5K training, or let's go do what they call a dash run. So they're taking and they're adding the environment where are you going to use your sneakers, and we're going to be the captain of that ship.
Yeah, like mini camps. This is how you do this thing. This is how you do that thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That takes. But that does take a lot of work.
It does.
Not, one guy in a sneaker store can't, run the store and be out. It takes a crew to do that stuff.
Yeah.
It does take a crew.
It does.
Right.
But you know what the beautiful thing is, Walt, if you think about this, in today's world, even if we're not even applying this to guns right now, in the sneaker game, there's influencers. Right? Now, obviously, we got a lot of people trying to, everyone wants to be an influencer. I understand that. I actually welcome that. But the thing is that you have influencers out there that you can work with. So if you're a guy, let's say in Gainesville, Florida, where I'm at, and you know that there's a guy in the sneaker world not far from you that's into that, you can start working with that guy. Instead of you having to do the work, you work with that guy. That's kind of like what you did, Walt, working with me. Right? If you think about it, that's kind of like what happened here. And I think that there's always opportunities, where one thing goes away, another thing pops up. It's the crazy thing about the universe and nature.
Yeah, here's some examples in our industry.
Yeah.
Good buddy of mine, small shop, one person shop, possibly two when he can deal with employees. He'll do a AR-15 build for his buddies. He'll come in and he'll show them how to do an AR-15 build. And in that process, he's building a rapport with them on where to go shoot and where to go hunt. And just that local knowledge itself, most people don't realize how much information they have that's shareable with somebody who's just coming into the trade. We've been doing it. I've been making ARs for a long time. I think it's simple, but for the first time, when someone does it for the first time, I mean, that spring goes like
Yeah.
changing the tubes. I mean, my God,
It's
just
magic.
Like, so it is magic. Well, I like that because you buy more springs. But,
yeah, well, yeah,
but
that's
well,
true.
my
sharing
experience.
that knowledge on.
Yeah, my experience too is sometimes even the most experienced builders still put things together wrong. and
Go
but
backwards.
anyways,
Yeah, that happened. Of course.
oh
Of
yeah,
course.
backwards. Yeah.
Well, yes.
I can't figure out. I don't know why your upper doesn't work. And it's like, well, it worked when it left here. Did you put that Did you take out that the disconnector on the trigger because you don't need it on a bolt action?
Yeah.
I was supposed to do that.
Kind of
Yeah, that's what the instructions said. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Actually, that happened. We know somebody that happened to, don't we, Hank?
what? They took. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, because listen,
It's easy to do, hey.
well, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But I do mess up all the time. I think the thing is like, especially so even the seasoned, let's say the seasoned gun guy who believes he doesn't need to read the instructions from the manufacturer of something he never. You might want, if you never had one of these before, you might want to read the instructions.
Yeah, well, we had to do that on that Hightower Armory conversion.
Yeah.
For the 1022, I think we actually had to read the instructions.
So first of all, dudes don't like reading instructions.
It's gotta be pictures.
Yeah.
There's gotta be pictures.
Yeah. This is why the internet.
I tell you what, man, if I can't, whether it's a gun or a chainsaw or whatever I'm working on, if I can't figure it out or I got a little question, I'll go Google that thing, and next thing you know, I've got a, and it's surprising how much people don't use that resource.
Yeah, I see Pete is checking out a comment there.
Yeah.
Which one are you checking out? By the way, shout out to I see Kevin Dixie out there, the real NOC. Shout out to him. He's out there.
Yeah.
What's the comment you're
It was
catching?
DCG 44s. Even brick and mortar mom and pop shops can adapt new things like websites, social media, etc., to help them survive.
Yeah.
I mean, you're spot on.
Nothing else simply hours your operation and what you've got going on, maybe even inventory on stuff. Simple stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even just telling people the story of who you are. That's so. Like some people underestimate that, or sharing a video. If you're a bakery, just sharing a video of you making something. I'm gonna look at that video and then I'm not gonna make it, but I think I'm gonna stop over there,
right,
and get one of those donuts, maybe 2 or 10 or 20.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like things. This is just the old order going away and the new order coming in, and there's a way for us all to participate in that and not necessarily lose if we want to.
Right.
Right.
There's something to be said about good partnerships too. One person shops are pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had a good partner in the business. It was my dad, a guy named Al, and right now we've got some really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Chad, the guy that kind of runs the show there at Brownells now, Chad Martin, does a good job. The social team does a good job. The ops team does a good job.
Yeah,
I mean,
Paul and I'm trying to remember the guy who thinks he has
Paul,
better hair than me. I refuse to remember. No, I know who that.
Yeah.
Is it Baron? I know his social media is Baron something.
Oh, I don't know his social handle.
Yeah.
So one of the things we try to do is we take people that are inside our business and give them a voice as well. Let their uniqueness show through.
Mm-hmm.
So these are good partners, and again, trying to help them create their own personal brand. Josh was one of the very first people at the SHOT Show that had visible tattoos. Back when we brought him, and it was this group going, "Why do you got this tattoo?"
Who's this guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tattoos and piercings and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you go talk to him a bit?
Yeah.
And now it's hard to turn around and not see someone with a nice big beard and bald head and some sleeves.
Yeah.
So we encourage people to be unique. We encourage you to be unique out there as a gun shop or a gun person. find a partner that can help you. You're not going to be great at everything. Accept that early, and you know, that's Hank. You're the front stage, and Lola makes things work. It's a partnership.
Right. Exactly. This is how we do it. We all do it. Like what Walter and I are doing is a partnership. We have lots of people. The folks who are here listening, it's a partnership. I see some of those guys out there. We were just talking about Kevin Dixie. He comes on here. He helps us out. Spices it up. Same thing with Mosh. We have lots of different people, by the way. We really try to do that. So I don't want to get away from this. There are comments. I'm going to get to everyone's comments here. So we're kind of in the realm of the future of the business. What do you see, if you can give us some of that, where do you see the future of this going? I know you guys recently acquired, I don't know, recently. What was that, a year and a half, Walt?
A year and a half ago.
Yeah, AR15.com. What's the future here?
We've started so AR15.com will make sense in this story here. We started building the retro rifle based exclusively on the feedback we were getting from AR-15 before we bought it, before we started to back the Avias over there. So it became again, what's needed in the marketplace. AR-15 is kind of where our core customer lives. So it's customer-driven products versus I know what the customer wants and I'm going to shove it down their throat and down the channel, right? It's customer-driven products. AR-15 makes great sense because that's a great pool of hardcore gunsmiths and gun people who drive what we develop. So the future is going to be, and that's what got the retro rifles going. So so the retro rifle model is a direct response from, and I mean not just an idea, prints, testing, original products so we could back engineer it, that type of stuff for the whole retro line. So the future is going to be, because it's here right now for us, where the community helps develop product.
Okay.
The closer you are to the customer, the quicker you can respond, the better you're going to do as a company. So you're going to see a lot more, for us at least, you're going to see a lot more products coming out right now. The BRN 180s, saw a comment, we're going to get those in a couple weeks to have them all in stock again. So
the Gen 2 of the 180s.
The Gen 2s, yep.
Right.
So that's how we're going to develop products. And we're also having partners out there who are really good at manufacturing, Aero Precision, great manufacturer out there. They're a good partner on a lot of these products we make. So the future is going to be driven by comments from you guys, from the customers.
Okay.
We have optics out there now. Again, give me an optic that does these things. So we work with our resources, open the doors up and say, okay, guys, who's got the best tube and glass and reticles and features? So you guys are driving the product development.
Okay.
It's a great thing. We're opening that up to our manufacturers as well to say, hey guys, let's get some direct feedback from you guys. Again, using social, using the customer's voice. It should be done all the time. It's usually in a real controlled environment that's based, I don't know, the traditional way is we're going to get a focus group together, handpick people who are going to vote yes on my idea. So I win in the public world, in my corporate world, we're going to develop. Well, that's bullshit.
That's how a lot of people do it, though.
Yep.
Yeah. So I take it like by getting into AR-15, that's kind of like getting in touch with the zeitgeist. It's almost like, so YouTube's pretty big. If you could actually get data from YouTube on what gun people were looking, what kind of stuff do they want, what are they looking at a lot, if you could do that, which you probably cannot. So AR-15, of course, is a good source for you guys to kind of like put your fingertips on that information. That's what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And, we want to make sure that it's reflective of what the whole community talks about, not one individual or individual's name. We want to make sure that it's respectfully done in this world of privacy. So that's what big movement that we're working for. Hopefully that flattens the curve, speeds up the way that new products come to market. We share that with the manufacturers like a Ruger and a Remington, a Glock on here's what the features customers really want, and here's the data where they say it. Hopefully we'll come a lot quicker to the marketplace with new products, not just for us or through us, but for the whole industry. Things that we really want and good feedback, so it comes back to things that we really need as an industry.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. I think mass customization, one of the things I think out there that we need to do a better job as an industry, how do we help? I mean, my kids play this Fortnite thing, right?
Okay.
You can get all kinds of different skins and all kinds of different things out there. How do we bring that to the real world so you can take that firearm to the range? Traditionally, you had to order 6,000 to 10,000 firearms and you have one pattern. Well, that's not unique. How do we bring uniqueness to the marketplace in mass? And I think we need to, as an industry, we need to work on that.
Okay.
As a gun shop owner, as you're making a gun, how do we help you make better connections with those people that have an expertise? They've already got their dip tanks. They've already got, maybe you're not a great designer. How do you do tie someone with a great design so it all kind of comes together in a fluid way to provide a great product for a customer? I think mass customization is going to be a big thing right now.
Okay, very interesting. Go ahead, Walt. You got some thoughts here?
No, I'm trying to process mass customization.
So in other words, like customization, but getting more specific to things, but not necessarily wasting time building a bunch of stuff people don't want. Is that?
That's a part of it.
Okay.
It's also you build your AR-15, your core good AR-15, and right now a gunsmith will buy the lower, the upper, the right specs, but I want a different color. Because you'll make that, you can make that same gun for my buddy. I want a different color. So we traditionally do that by the paints.
Yeah.
But I want a print. I want a specific print, or I want specific etching on mine, or I want my name on it, or I want. How do you do that in mass?
So so you're saying by networking a company, so if you know this company's close to the guy, you can bring that gun to one stage, send it off to this guy that's not far from him, and that guy brings it the rest of the way, kind of a thing?
Kind of like that. That's done today, but it's a bit clunky and there's some rules around it. So that's part of it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of rules.
Yeah.
Because when I say they, ATF doesn't want everybody handling everything and making money. Like it used to be. You paint a gun, no big deal. Paint a gun, so what? Well, now you have to be. That's like manufacturing to paint a gun. It's like, huh? What?
Yeah. So we need to work through streamlining the rules and streamlining the process. But the more important thing is the customer. How do they do that on an internet interface? So how do you offer yourself up as a producer of product or things and allow that? If I want a gun that looks like that Fortnite whatever skin, I want that. How do I get that?
Yeah.
So we want to have an interface that does that.
Yeah. So I'm hearing like kind of like a social network, or a network at least, where you can put people together, and that kind of leads into something that I've wanted to ask someone in your position in the industry. With everything going on in social media, right? It's really tough for all of us, the industry folks, the content creators, the people out there who are just people, and they're posting things and they're getting fact checked and shadow banned, blocked, kicked off, deplatformed, all of this stuff. Are you thinking about somehow getting, I don't know whether like buying into it or somehow working on your own social media thing, or making an ecosystem that we can all live in?
Yeah, so that's another big rise all boats be a tide. AR-15 is internally, and it's out there a little bit. We want to make that a freedom network.
Okay.
Free speech. Now that has that attracts good and bad with that. So I wish that social media would have respectful comments in there, but you can't ban. I'm fighting for free speech. It's fighting for the speech that's least tasteful to you, as long as it's So there is a network that how do you make sure that the server farm, all this stuff is hosted on, says, all right, we're going to host things that are only anti-gun, and we're going to shut you down. So AWS is a big one out there with Amazon. They may have a decision, say, all right, no more gun transactions. But you got to have your own servers, and your own networks and all that stuff. So we're working on how do you do that? It won't be as big as an Amazon or as a Facebook, but it does provide a landing ground for people, and hopefully we can monetize it like it used to be in the good old days, purely based on, well, it'd be ad revenue as well. So we have a way to create a network or a community where we feel like we don't have to not kind of, we kind of whisper that we're selling guns or we're showing guns, stuff like that. It needs to develop. And I think that we're talking about the future. There's a lot of talk right now about these big oligarchs that are running and controlling the culture statements and what's being talked about, shutting people off. I know they struggle with that. When you ask them and they dive into it, like a Facebook and a Google and all those players, advertising models, they really can't, in my mind, justify shutting people down. We've been shut down. You've been shut down. You can't justify it. And you can't there's no guarantee we're going to stay up. So we just want consistency, and we're not finding it in those groups. So we need to provide that environment.
Okay, so I'm going to assume...
And that's what we're looking to grow into. And there's other good ones out there too. So
I think that's a really important part of this equation. I don't know if you guys are thinking about like acquisitions in the space or whatever, or in terms of social media, because AR-15 I think is a very early form of a social media thing. And I think there's other things out there, and there's been platforms, right? There's a lot of platforms out there in the industry. There's Full 30, there's Gunstreamer, there's YouTube, there's other things, but I think the biggest problem these guys have is, one, support from the industry, two, like the eyeballs from the community, and then three, they have to figure out how to somehow make it a two-way street for folks like myself that are content creators, right? But the truth of it is, going back to those numbers you were talking about, and numbers are really important here. I can tell they're important for you guys. If there's about 175 million people at the base of that pyramid, going up to like 5 million diehard guys, there's definitely an ecosystem there that can benefit a lot of people. Even though like YouTube and all of that's never going to go away, probably.
Right.
Don't forget, a lot of these new gun owners are not necessarily on our side.
Right.
They're buying guns because they feel threatened. They're not buying guns because they want to be a Second Amendment patriot, or they want to go out and do it. They feel they're scared. Okay, so the natural thing is, okay, if I'm scared, I'm going to go buy something that's going to make me not be scared, as scared. Now, do they believe in the same things that maybe we believe in? Not always.
Yeah.
I guarantee if you ask them, maybe half do, maybe a quarter do, but the rest are just kind of out there.
Yeah.
So to me, that's where you got to get to those folks somehow, without scaring them off. And a lot of people will scare them off if you're too aggressive, because if you start talking about one subject they don't like, they'll go run in the corner and hide. It's a hard sell.
It's a slow game. It's not like this quick game where you can somehow just inundate someone with stuff. Like, no, it's not it's a magazine, not a clip and this thing, and you're just smacking them upside the head and they're like, okay, well, I had enough of this.
Well, even if you start barking the Second Amendment and you start barking this at them and barking this stuff at them, they're going to go, who the hell are you? I didn't get this because I was, and forever after, when they hear Second Amendment, they'll go, I remember that guy that was trying to push me into this group or telling me I was, you need to be a patriot and bang your chest and, do all this stuff. And it's like,
I think a big important part of it is keeping that, like, there's a, first of all, guns. None of us here is just all into guns, right? We're probably, it's a big part of my life. A massive part of your life, Pete, generationally. Walter, I think it's the same way, but we do other things. We like other stuff.
Oh,
So
I
there
have
has to
other
be some
interests.
kind,
Yeah.
yeah, there has to be a kind of balance and a soft sell instead of no, we're trying to convert you over to this and change your whole life and make you like give up your friends and not talk to your family members anymore.
Right.
We have to figure out how to do that. But here's the thing that's happening. You know, I'm going to try to stay on YouTube and Facebook and all of these places as long as I can. What that means is more and more I have to keep breaking down what I do because they won't accept it. So eventually, if I just stay on Facebook and YouTube and all the other social medias, I'll be pretty neutered in a few years, if that much, right? I'll be pretty neutered, and it will be senseless to not have somewhere that I can at least, when people like, you know what, I really like this guy. If there's some deeper thing that I could get to, where can I go to see that? And it needs to be a solid place that I can stop like worrying about as much. Where every 3 months, 6 months, this is changing, that's changing, this thing's going away. This is we need some kind of stability there where we can maybe almost funnel off people slowly to go over here. Or one of these days we're going to turn around actually and they'll just go, that's it, we're done with all of this, no gun stuff no matter who it's coming from.
That's the big worry, Hank. And that's, AR-15 is a forum platform, but there is the video that we're doing now platform. There is instant messaging. There's a lot of services that wrap around that. The thing that the thing that's needed, there's some good technology out there. And you need two things. You need a lot of eyeballs and good technology. There's a lot of technology that they don't have the financial support, the ad support, because there's not eyeballs there yet. And getting eyeballs, it took Juan and Ed, 20 years to get to where they are.
Yeah.
We don't have 20 years.
No. I think AR-15 is a good thing just because they have those built-in backlinks, right? They've been doing this for a long time, and they've got those deep roots.
Yeah. Now we need to patch it together, right? So acquisitions are part of that. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Other future stuff. In this industry, well, not to get politics, but there's a very critical aspect. There's a huge difference between the two candidates right now, between new Biden and Trump, the administration, who's has a colored two-way action, but he's not as bad as Biden by any stretch. Biden's probably the most horrible two-way policy right now.
Right.
And be aware of it. So one of the concerns we've got in the future is people don't think that, well, it's sloppy Joe over there. He doesn't have a chance. Let me tell you, he has a chance. He has a chance. We should understand what the differences are between the two policies. The math is right now. The math's up in the air, and that's the electoral map. The math's up in the air. Within the margin of error, which means it could be a full sweep on the D, which means Biden, Pelosi, and whoever comes in the House or in the Senate. So this could be like the first 2 years where we got the healthcare program we've got. Their focus is going to be on rolling back taxes or rolling back all the tax breaks and firearms.
Yeah.
That's a big push.
Yeah, and they're not going to necessarily be like the other side that hemmed and hawed when it came to Second Amendment stuff when they had a supermajority. Democrats don't play that game. They're going to go in there and crush the buildings and do as much as they could possibly do.
When they were in control completely, they didn't crush the building. They were in control for a while completely. When they did Obamacare, they were running the show. They did not crush the building. They could have, but they didn't.
I would agree with. I think that's true. They
and the
did
same people were there.
Well, why didn't they? Why didn't they? What's the reason?
Because they still feared the repercussions.
Okay.
They don't fear the repercussions now.
Yeah, I think that's the difference.
It's just like the people out in the street, right? They don't fear getting locked up for 20 years because they haven't been getting locked up.
Well, they won't be.
So well, they will be eventually. They will, trust me. But because it can't go on like this. Eventually, or they get shot, one or the other. But if you don't have any fear of like everybody's out and open, they're all socialists now. They never used to say that crap ever. They're a socialist. I'm for this. I'm for raising taxes. When did the Democrats come out and go, let's raise the taxes? It's like, what the are they for? Oh, their fucking mind. Mm-hmm. Look what the economy will go like this. You think it's bad now? Raise the taxes. Watch what happens. Mm-hmm. It's going to go into worse than Obama stagnation. Mm-hmm. It'll go, and the gun business will be so fucking nuts. You won't be. You think it's busy now? It's busy nothing compared to if that happens. You remember after Newtown? I mean, this is busy now, but after Newtown, it just. They had control before. They didn't do it. We had control. We didn't do anything. Yeah. So
But now it's a little different. What do you think about that, Pete? Do you agree with what Walter's saying here? Do you think that now it's different and this is not just some bluster to get elected, that these guys really mean the difference I could tell is that before if we said to folks out there, listen, they're coming for your guns, people say, oh, we're not coming for anyone's guns. No one's coming for your guns. Now they're like, yeah, we're coming for those guns, by the way. I mean, this is Biden's plan. If you read it, it's like there, you can go read it.
They're loud and proud now. Yeah. They don't care what they say. They think that's what I think or you think.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what Americans think. They're not. We wouldn't have 5 million new gun owners if that's what America thought.
Yeah.
Hello. So it's interesting. There was a comment about so the question is, Hank, what's changed between if one party has the trifecta, that they don't crush their initiative down the throats. It's the difference. If it's a slight majority, it's really hard to crush a specific policy. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a slight majority in the Senate. So they're not going to. So that's why there's talk about let's get rid of the filibuster. So there needs to be 51 votes versus 60 votes, right?
Yeah.
As soon as that happens, that really what that does is it nullifies the Senate and it gives all the because that was the speed bump for just let's gut check this, guys. And if we get 60%, it's good for America, which I think is probably fair. Because when the D's, if it's a trifecta for the R's, I'm not for that either. So I don't know, frankly. It's an unknown. I've learned not to bet on politics. I wouldn't have thought Trump would have won. We were Iowa. We get to see them all. I thought he would have come in 17th.
I don't think Trump thought he was going to win.
Here's what I said before the election, Pete, and it came true. Mm-hmm. I said the guy that comes out and speaks what he's on his mind, doesn't apologize every 5 minutes for everything he says, and doesn't care what anybody freaking thinks about him, he'll win. And guess what?
Mm-hmm. That's what happened.
And he had his own money. He had his own money too, which. Without your own money, you can't do it. And I'm gonna start my own YouTube, but I don't have any money. Well, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think also people can see the Clintons from a mile away. I mean, people are not, people are not. So in other words, no one who really wanted Hillary to be president.
Thousands of people did. Hundreds of thousands of people did. It's the same people that support Joe Biden.
Yeah, but
they got fucking blinders on. They just walk around like this all day.
Yeah, ultimately that didn't work out though.
Well, I don't think it's going to work out this time either. So I think you're going to be surprised, actually.
So one of the differences, what's different this time? There's 5 million new gun owners. The majority of them came from the urban areas, which are traditionally Democratic in those areas. And I think going through the process of buying a gun and waking up to the fact that there's a lot of rules around it. And
I got to wait 10 days to get my gun? I gotta wait a week to get my gun. I feel threatened tonight. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Right. I think what we're going to see is instead of people going, oh yeah, I'm going to lean all into the 2A, they're at least going to pause a little bit and say, wait a second, that rhetoric that you've been giving me all these years, I'm not buying it. I experienced something much different than what you're telling, so I've got a wake-up call in reality. And if there's enough of those people, and it's really from the NRA days, if there's a 3% movement in some of these districts, that's enough that's the margin of error that will push one candidate over the other. We're so tight on our elections of winning in most of these purple areas, which are the ones that are swing states, that voter turnout is the game.
Mm-hmm.
So and these new gun owners, if it's security that's their issue, they may not go vote because they can't stomach someone who's going to take that security away.
Mm-hmm.
Or they may go vote and change it at certain levels of the ticket. So I think these new gun owners that have come in, they're not going to be a Hank Strange, not going to be Walter, not going to be Pete, but they could be someone to say, wait a second, I don't quite believe that rhetoric.
Yeah.
I've been told the story. I mean, they've been lied to for a long time.
Yeah,
maybe
I think you would be
awakens
surprised. Yeah, I think people would be surprised. There's a number of things going on. So, for example, this COVID-19 shutdown, I know that it's like Dems, libs out there feel like this is going to work to their advantage. I think a lot of people are really mad about that.
Oh yeah,
because it's a story.
You're just not hearing from them, and I'm not talking about like the silent majority that a lot of us are, that we don't waste time answering polls and all that. I'm talking about the regular folks out there have had enough of this months ago. You know, regular people. So that's a massive wild card that I think they believe that's in their favor, but people could see it. You know, and I think that's what you're running into. And then on top of that, they didn't really offer anything new. I mean, there's nothing new in what they offered. They didn't come up with anyone younger or anything like that. There's just like, you know, what are you doing? So go back to what you said, Walt. Trump is still the maverick out there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's a guy that don't care whether you like him or not, pretty much.
Democrats they're a smart party. They're a smart party.
Mm-hmm.
They win when they have a new, energetic candidate. I just look historically, when they don't bring that to the table, they don't win.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking for progressive ideas and progressive candidates. I mean, Obama was definitely that,
Mm-hmm.
and Clinton was that, and Carter was that, and Kennedy was that. I mean, you just go back and really had a good run,
Mm-hmm.
and done a good thing for that Democratic planks.
Yeah, I think the exciting Democrats don't really want it. That's why we have Biden, and that's why the VP thing went a little weird, and then the person who we all knew was going to be the VP became the VP, because ultimately the actual stars that you're talking about out there, when they're looking at it, they're like, nah, I don't want it, not in this environment, no thanks.
Yeah.
Did you see what Hillary Clinton said, that Biden should not debate Trump?
I did see that.
So that's just telling me that he's going to get shredded alive.
Yeah,
that's what
she says she's afraid of Trump's skullduggery. So Trump's a pirate. Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, guys,
that was her words. I can read it to you. Those were her words. If you don't believe me, let me see. Since we got Pete here, we're not really like bringing up the news or anything like that. But I did see this from Hillary, and I was like, this has got to be. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't Hillary that said that. It was Pelosi. Here, I'll bring it up for you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was Pelosi.
Yeah, Pelosi says.
The walking corpse.
Pelosi said, "I don't think there should be any debates between Biden and Trump." She goes on, lists all her reasons and stuff like that, and then as we go down, let's see, where is it? I'm looking for the skullduggery here. There was a part here where she said that there's going to be skullduggery, and I was like, wow, this is I'm trying to find it here. I'll find it for you guys, but it's definitely in what she said, which is to me amazing.
I'm sitting at home one night, Pete, and here comes a Biden commercial about climate change. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, that's all they freaking got is climate change? I mean, that is such a wore out that's like Russia, their whole Russia narrative. It's like, come on, climate. It's all you got. You got Creepy Joe. It's climate change.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting, and I think that it came through in one of these comments. I'll make this statement. And I'll say I'm a professed independent.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, when we say Democrats, many people say, "Well, I'm a Democrat," and I don't believe everything that head of the party believes in, or Republicans, and we identify not wholeheartedly. We're not all 100% one demographic,
mm-hmm.
and So I think maybe a better way to say it is, that the Biden policy or the Trump policies, those things, because I think we said it before, we're not all just one monolithic block
Yeah.
of thinking. And that's what makes us really strong. And hopefully we start to hear individual voices out there on both sides of the parties, on both sides of these affiliated lines, or even this third independent voice out there to say, hey, look, who's the best person? What are the best policies that fit where I think America should go? And that's how we're voting in this near future. Instead of just pulling shit, when I came back to Iowa, we had a big lever called R and D. We didn't.
The two-party system is what's getting us. I think a lot of gun guys, by the nature of who we are, we don't believe in big government and all that kind of stuff. We don't.
No.
We don't like politicians. I mean, it's just the nature of who we are, right? I think we all realize that there's Republicans who have totally just forgotten about the Constitution, much less the Second Amendment. So I feel like, yes, there are a lot of people like that. Let me bring this up real quick because I did say this. It's there. It says she explained she did not think the president of the United States had comported himself in a way that anybody should and has any association with truth, evidence, data, and facts. And as a result, any debate with him would just be an exercise in skullduggery by Trump. Boom. Trump is getting skullduggery claims thrown at him now.
Where's the definition of skullduggery? It doesn't have something to do with skullduggery.
Skullduggery. Okay, I could tell you what skullduggery is.
It sounds like you're doing something to a skull of a dead person. That's
etymology probably goes back to that. But,
so I'm not even going to touch that one.
But that's not what the definition. To me, when I hear skullduggery, I think about pirates. I'm like, oh yeah, right. That's not bad words to me. But here it is. Here's the definition. I'll throw it up here on the screen for people. Underhanded or unscrupulous behavior, trickery.
And she's accusing him of that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Russia. Can I say Russia?
Yeah.
Russia?
Yeah, exactly.
Russia.
We all know that. Let me get to some. We've got like 8 minutes because we're burning through time here really fast.
Hey, Pete, do you ever have a day when, do you have sometimes, I know your job is not like, okay, I don't know what you do on a daily basis, but do you ever go in and just go have a hard time focusing?
Oh, that's every day, dude. There's so many.
I go.
Is he a dude? Is he a dude?
Yeah, okay. I go in with a clean slate, thinking I'll at least be able to work on my special projects and hopefully deliver something to the guys. Oh my gosh, it's just whiplashes back and forth, and it's great. Especially right now.
Fortunately for yourself, you have a lot of people that are in charge of various things.
Yeah.
But I have sometimes hard to focus.
That's the secret. Yeah. Pete, do you ever get distracted by your mini bike obsession when you go into Brownells? I'm just asking. Walter's obsessed with mini bikes. Instead of building guns, he's in there building mini bikes, and he's asking you this question because he's guilty of it.
They were asking in the chat about the guitars in the background.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yes, that's true.
Do you play?
I do. I'm trying to play. So what do I play? I like blues and kind of like Richard Thompson. If everybody knows the old Fairport Convention, really great guitars. Leo Kaki, those kind of players that know how to pick well.
Okay.
But blues is it, man. That's kind of where I am. And my kids play too. So.
Are you taking like formal lessons? Are you doing it over the internet? You got a DVD set? What are you? How are you doing that?
Internet and formal.
Oh, okay, cool. That's good.
I'm at the really bad stage right now.
Okay, how often are you playing? Like once a day or?
Yeah, about every other day.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, like tonight, Sunsets will be out there practicing.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's how you got to do it.
Now, they were also asking in the chat about when do you think the shortages are going to end?
Yeah, so ammo. John Parsons was asking about ammo company deliveries. We'll try to get that in there. And smash the thumbs ups, by the way. Don't let this show end and we're not at 100 thumbs ups, okay? We need literally 16 more thumbs ups to get there. So come on, people. Smash the thumbs ups. Okay, so yes, answer ammo.
So let's jump into ammo real quick. I believe that we're going to have this, whatever happens in November, we're going to be through the reaction. I think third quarter next year. So that's going to be right around September. Let's figure out. That's the next point where my crystal ball becomes really cloudy. I think we're going to slide down and calm down. I think COVID hopefully will be over, or at least the panic around it will be over. Either we'll have all caught it and lived through it, or whatever, or there'll be some kind of solution, and then all the political unrest that's going to come about will be being addressed. Both candidates will have their way of addressing it. So I think it's going to slow down and free back up third quarter next year, 2021.
Yeah. Brian Quick says, can we give a thumbs up for all the people that work in the warehouse, filling orders, shipping and receiving? Those folks make it happen. That's true. That place is like the post office. Well, no, not the post office. Wait. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I retract my statement. It's like UPS or FedEx over there.
Here, I'll snap a photo of that. See. You guys can, I'll send it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
and also with the ammunition, you got to remember that the ammunition manufacturers, I was told when Newtown was going on, they set quotas of how much of each thing they're making each year, and figure that whole thing out. So for them just to automatically increase things, it doesn't a lot of times work in their schedules and plans and stuff like that. So plus a lot of them make stuff for the military too. So and you're not going to interrupt the military stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, Guns and Gear says Vista CEO said the same timeline.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's and then Guns and Gear says Pete works in the warehouse as well.
Yep. I go up and pick orders when they're need a little break back there.
Yeah. Can we tell some stories? So I don't have the picture evidence right here in front of me, but when I came over there. And I don't know if you remember. You should remember this, Pete. I came there, and you guys didn't want to let me stay in the warehouse as long as I wanted to. And people might think that was a joke, but that warehouse, you actually cannot do that.
It's a lot of scurrying around back there. So you got to remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the video of me trying to hide out from these guys in the warehouse, yes, we were having fun. But no, you cannot stay. Trust me, I tried. So I remember, so where you park, where your parking spot is, the employee of the month gets to park right next to you.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't know this. I have a picture somewhere. I actually parked in that spot right next. And I took a picture. Huh?
I got a couple of guys in the industry. They'll come in, and I'll be out, and they'll give me snap photos of them with their feet up on my chair, and go drinking from the Pete cup that I got.
Oh boy, goals.
They're into the lounge.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then Lola was reminding me of SHOT Show. I want to say was it 2 years ago? SHOT Show 2 years ago at Media Day. There was this dude that came up to me, and by the way, a lot of my fans are, first of all, listen, I've got black fans, white fans. There's a lot of white guys, some very hairy ones, big beards, stuff like that. So a guy came up to me at Media Day, and he was like, "Hey, Hank Strange, how you doing?" and everything. So I'm talking to him. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. At Media Day,
with the beard.
Yeah, everyone's not supposed to be at Media Day, but this guy's just talking to me, and I'm like, and then he goes, I think he realized I didn't recognize who it is. He's like, "Yeah, I'm Pete Brownell."
That's how I met him too. He had a growth on his face.
Yeah, he had a
big beard for a bit.
Big old bushy beard there. So it was actually pretty cool. Pete got food from the food trucks, and there was a bunch of guys there with us, like Mike from MW Tactical. I think Clover Tack was there, and we all sat down in the tent eating stuff. And first, they didn't know who that was either. And then they're like, saying, "Do you know that's like Pete Brownell there?" And Pete was just hanging out with us. You are really just a regular dude.
Yeah.
As crazy as that may sound,
Yeah.
Yeah, because if it was me, Pete, I'm coming to Media Day in my helicopter.
You can roll in with your entourage.
My helicopter's landing, and I'm getting special tents. Special tents are coming out. My chef is coming out and making me a special meal. The other people only get to look at me eating my meal. No. But that's good. I think that's a good thing. As That's a cool thing. I know that sounds like pretty simple or whatever, but that to me is something that I think is cool because I've been doing this for a while and I've seen a lot of guys that like I've been into offices where the guy has he's got a waterfall in his office and golden stack, all kinds of crazy stuff. But his employees are, there's no air conditioning where those guys are. So, I appreciate it when I see the opposite of that, where like that building you guys have there in Grinnell is awesome. There's a store. It's like IKEA inside of there. There's lots of nice places for the employees to eat and rest and all of that kind of stuff. There's a high security. And, it's not, at least it doesn't seem like it's all about you.
No, I get reminded daily that I put my pants on one leg at a time, and I still need to do the dishes and put my shoes away. And
wait, you got to do the dishes?
Yeah, I do. That's right. That's right.
Don't tell Lola about that. Yeah, this is why you have kids.
That's right.
Make the kids do the dishes. No.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, my kids think they're too good to do the dishes.
It's a great community. I love to be in it. Just be one of the regular guys in it because we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Walter, is there something you want to say before I start wrapping up here?
So, Pete, do you have children? What are they in the business?
I got 3 kids. They're just going off to college now. My youngest is still here. We'll be a household with 1 kid left in it.
All right. Yeah.
Big adventure people, so.
Yeah, so you can't walk around the house naked yet. Do whatever you want to do. Yeah, I know. I can't do it either. Soon, one of these, that's the dream.
Soon.
That's the dream.
I have a dream.
Yes. You got to have a dream. No, I think in the end, I know for me, I've got one that's away and one that's there. And, they're your babies still.
Yep. I'm the guy that's going to be missing them and traveling out to see them all the time. Yeah, family's important. And very important. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's do this here because we're at 9 o'clock. I'm sure there's more things you guys want to ask, but, I appreciate Pete coming on. So what I want to do is, wrap everything up here, and I'm going to start with Walter. Walter, if the folks out there want to, get in touch with you, find out what you're doing, how can they do that?
Best way is to call us on the phone. But if you like to use the interweb, which I do, safetyharborfirearms.com, everything's on there that we have. There's also the social media, which is YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Safety Harbor Firearms, and then of course the mini bike stuff, which is Dirtfoot Racing, and that's on those same platforms also. So
everyone go to Dirtfoot Racing and tell Walter to make more guns.
I'm waiting on barrels right now for the 50 barrels.
Yeah. Maybe.
But we are making stocks and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, maybe Pete knows someone that makes some 50 BMG barrels.
No, it's a slim. It's a
small market. Yeah. So Pete, I know you probably don't do a lot of social media, but for the folks out there who want to know the best ways to communicate with the folks over at Brownells, what would you say that, what they need to do there?
800 number. You can always get a hold of me through the 800 number or our direct line, 641-623-5401, or send me an email, pete@brownells.com. It's pretty simple.
Okay, awesome. There you go. All right, so stay right there, Pete. I'm gonna wish everyone good night here. I want to remind people to go to hankstrange.com, sign up for our email list. Big thanks to Safety Harbor Firearms for sponsoring the podcast here. We really appreciate that. Also, big thanks to Pete for coming on, and for my friend Ryan for making this happen. Hashtag BOP. Shout out to Ryan and Josh and Roy, of course, and all the folks over at Brownells. Everyone at Brownells is awesome. There were some people that were helping me hide when I was running away. There were some people that were trying to help track me down, but, it's all good. Stay right there. I'm going to hit the end for everyone. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live. We will rip out the audio from this and put it up on iTunes and all the other places that you get your audio podcasts. Thanks so much for everyone out there. Shout out. Good night to everyone. We will see you all tomorrow. Who wants the final word here? Pete, you want the final word?
Go out there, pull the trigger, and be safe, America. See you later.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're out of here, guys. Peace.